And we'll find our comfy seat, whatever that looks like for you this evening. It can be in a chair on the floor, just honoring your body. We'll go ahead and you're welcome to turn to page 20 in your manual to follow along for tuning in with the Adi mantra. And we'll stick with 3 rounds of the Adi mantra this evening. Go ahead and bring those thumbs into the chest. Begin to connect in with your breath. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling through the nose or through the mouth. Just letting it go. Arriving here in your space. Allowing any thoughts to begin to subside. Really just giving yourself this opportunity to connect inward. Let's take another inhale and exhale. And then we'll take an inhale and begin to tune in. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Inhale, suspend through the breath if it feels comfortable. Engage mul bonds. Maybe flip the tongue. And exhale, release. Hands come to the knees and just sit for a moment. Feeling what you feel. Honoring any sensations. And allowing that vibration to connect you to that higher part of yourself. Connecting in with all of the ascended masters before. As our left hand stays grounded, palm face down, let's bring our right index finger to our right nostril. Begin to breathe long, slow, and deep through the left nostril only. Bringing that breath all the way into the upper belly and all the way out. The left nostril being associated with the feminine energy, with that nurturing, and with the parasympathetic nervous system. So staying here for a moment. You're welcome to bring your eye gaze to that third eye point between the eyebrows, slightly rolling the eyes up and in. You're also welcome to look at the tip of the nose or even at a point in front of you, but focusing inward. Allowing the body to sink deeper into the sit bones. Relax through the shoulders and the face. Lengthening through the spine, tucking slightly through the chin. Taking one more inhale and exhale here. We'll release the left hand down. Take an inhale through both nostrils. Exhaling here, reversing the left index finger coming to the left nostril, breathing through the right nostril only. Maybe noticing which nostril was easier or harder to breathe out of. The right being associated with the more solar, masculine aspects. Taking one more inhale and exhale here, releasing. We're bringing the hands back into prayer mudra at the center of the chest. And we're going to begin a breath of fire here. A fun, bouncy navel pump. Half inhale in, exhaling forcefully through the navel. You're always welcome to stick out your tongue and pant like a dog to get the cadence. And then closing through the mouth when you're ready and coming back to the nose. Let's inhale fully. Suspend if it feels comfortable. Relax, hands back down to the knees. Sit for a moment. Noticing what's happening in the body. The hands for support. We begin to come into our Siri Om, our divine grind. Inhaling, the chest comes forward, and exhaling, coming back. Moving as fast or as slow as feels comfortable in your body. Becoming very present and undulating through the side body. Noticing what the chin is doing. Pairing this movement with the breath. Taking one more on this side and then reversing directions with the help of our hands. We're stirring that energy. We're breathing into the body. Taking one more here and then very slowly unwinding yourself as you come back to stillness in the center and just sitting, allowing, releasing. Taking one more inhale and exhale here. We're in easy pose for one more. Our hands are going to come up on our shoulders. If this is a tight squeeze, you're welcome to bring this Gyan Mudra up in cactus arms. And a very soft, gentle twisting motion, left to right. We will inhale left, exhale right. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. We're moving the spine in all of its directions. This is referred to as the washing machine. Keeping the shoulder blades relaxed down onto the back. Keeping the head, the chin all in alignment with the sternum. We're inhaling on the left, the side for receiving. We're exhaling on the right, the side for giving, letting go. This is also working on the arc line in the subtle energy field of the body. Let's take 3 more here. Coming back to center, let's inhale. Suspend through the breath, engage Mahaband, flip the tongue. And exhale, release. Releasing the exhale and suspending at the bottom of the exhale if it feels comfortable. Holding the breath out. Inhale. And come back to the soft inhale and exhale. Just noticing. Experiencing. One more inhale and exhale here. And then stretch the legs out in front of us. Allowing the knees to bend, shaking out through the legs, welcoming them back. We'll straighten through the spine here. Knees can be slightly bent. You can also sit on a corner of a blanket to find that nice pelvic lift. We'll inhale through the crown of the head. We'll exhale, forward fold. However this looks in your body, hinging from the hips to start. Breathing into the back of the body. Long, slow, and deep. Life nerve stretch. Feeling that sense of support, of groundedness, stability. Playing with the point of the toes, pointing the toes to the sky. Staying with your breath. The inhale can be the mantra Sat. The exhale can be Nam. soothing the busyness of the mind, the monkey mind. Keeping your awareness and your intention active. What are you feeling in your body? Where are you feeling it? How can you allow the inhale to help soften and release any tension? Taking one more inhale and exhale here. Inhale back up to center. Just allow the back to relax, the toes to soften. We're going to stay with our legs out long in front, except for bringing some space in between for a wide-legged forward fold. Maybe tucking the belly button in slightly, tucking that tailbone slightly. We're inhaling through the crown of the head. This time we're going to alternate moving over left and right legs. A very subtle movement, an inhale in the center, an exhale over the leg. Toes continue to point towards the sky. You're also welcome to bring the arms up here. You can keep them low as well. Inhaling in the middle, exhaling alternate. Let's take one more on each side. And then inhaling back to center, hugging everything in, suspending through the breath. And exhaling the hands coming through the aura. Grounding them back down on the floor, on the earth. And allowing the legs to softly move us back into an easy seat. Getting comfortable in this seat. As we're going to bring our left hand out in front of us, our right hand is going to make the peace symbol. We are going to walk the index finger, Jupiter finger of the right hand, and the middle finger, the Saturn finger, up from the base of the palm of the left hand. And like a spider, we're crawling all the way up the palm to the tips of the middle and the ring finger on the left hand, the Saturn and the Sun finger. So we're gonna find this movement in as our mudra. We're gonna allow the eyes to be 1/10 open to the nose or focused on the third eye gaze. And we're gonna walk up and down the palm. The palm being a mirror of our heart space. And these fingers, the Jupiter expansion wisdom fingers, the Saturn discernment, walking up the left hand of the Saturn, increasing circulation, and our ring finger, the sun finger, our center for energy. So allowing yourself to come into this very meditative space, turning on a mantra for peace in the background. We're allowing ourselves to experience. Your breathing will just flow in and out like waves. back down to the palm. Release the hand position. Sit for a moment. Being with your soft breath. We'll rub the palms of the hands together. Bringing our hands over our eyes. Softly opening through the eyes and arriving into our space. If anyone would like to share their experience.
Wow. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Thanks. Wow is right. It very connected with visions. Tuned into my third eye. It was very almost like a telescope, like a not a telescope, but the you look through and it kind of gives you the different shapes and stuff. That's what I was feeling. Like that's what I was seeing actually. It was quite the experience. I loved it. It's good stuff.
Kaleidoscope.
Yeah, just wow. How is something so simple so magical? I mean, it like I felt like I was already in my body today, but now I'm firmly in it, but also floating.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was very powerful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got very uncomfortable in the middle. I had to get support behind me because my back like didn't want to hold me up. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm moving where I'm at.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'm happy you listened to that and moved. Like really, sitting in this easy pose is something. The left hand also, as we're moving up and down, it's going through all the reflexology points too on the palm. So you're moving through small intestine, kidney, adrenals, solar plexus, cervical spine. The fingertips on the right are the head and the brain. And it is said that this does neutralize the central part of the brain. I mean, of course, with these hand positions, it's almost like a lot of this is rubbing your stomach and patting your head. It's that synchronization between the right and the left sides of the body and the brain. Also synchronizing our rhythms. This is helping to synchronize. And I did create a folder underneath the drive where the recordings are stored. I'm going to be uploading PDFs. So this meditation will be in there. I put Kirtan Kriya in there as well. And just stuff that I like to share with you and that I'm sure you'd like to have access to and to know. And some of these, of course, are from the Kundalini Research Institute, and we'll learn more about this organization as we go. And it's kind of nice. It's the nice part about it because they've created just so much, so many documents, and there's tons of books, and of course, practicing the Kriya or the meditation before you teach it is a priority, just for the experience and to know what you're teaching, to know how it feels in the body. So just keeping that in mind, because there's so many of them. So is there any questions about any of the rebirthing, any of the topics that we've discussed so far? If at any point there is, please just unmute and we'll figure it out. So I wanted to acknowledge kind of the aftercare as far as rebirthing goes. This is deep work. There's lots moving. And even within this Kundalini work too, you may notice that others are noticing a shift in you. And sometimes things might get messy. Things may fall apart externally. And this can be blamed on the Kundalini, right? Oh, it's from that Kundalini work that we're getting into. So just being aware that this is part of that kind of reputation surrounding this work. And if things do get messy, or if external situations start to fall apart, just being present to this and being aware that this may happen. And it also might not. And this has to do a lot with becoming more in alignment with yourself, so that these things may naturally shed and fall away. So it may all be in this divine timing. It may all be what was supposed to happen. So just being present with this and not turning a blind eye or ignoring this. And we'll speak more about like spiritually bypassing and how that presents and what that looks like. Because really the first place the mind will go is, oh, it's the Kundalini. It's that Kundalini training. It's all the Kundalini I'm doing. So yes, just being aware of this. And this is a very egoic tendency, right? The mind going, oh, it's the Kundalini, let's stop. We're stopping that. To continue to stay in comfort, maybe, or to avoid the unknown through on the other side of this, as everything is already unknown as it is. So this is a very clear sign too that you're doing some good work. Like if things are happening externally, like stuff is being moved, cleared, released, refined. And rebirthing is one of those things that is kind of that maintenance. And I wanted to speak too to the concept of sadhana. What is sadhana? It's a daily practice. Sadhana, the root of that word is from sadhu. And sadhus are ascetics, or they are renunciates of the physical world. This doesn't mean that sadhana itself is renouncing our 3D existence. Sadhana just is that discipline of that commitment and that self-care piece to yourself. And really, this discipline and this commitment, of course, are efforts to achieve enlightenment, maybe. Whatever it is, it's that discipline piece of the flow state where surrender is the other half, of course. And this is a very tantric concept as well, this sadhana practice. So a daily sadhana is your upkeep. This is filling the cup. The rebirthing practice is maintenance on the vessel, maintenance for our subconscious. And we're moving in the spiral. Everything is a spiral. It's said that the soul is a spiral. And when you're coming back to these pieces of, oh, I should have healed this by now. Oh, here I am again. Just noticing that ego coming in and saying, oh, I should have healed this by now. This circular pattern. And giving yourself grace, of course, as we move through these different ages and different times in our existence, which I'd like to speak to now. Get a little bit more into this cycles in the yogic philosophies, page 14, potentially on your manual. I printed my manual out too early, so my page numbers might be a little off. So we are looking at where this photo is of Amar Bharati. And this is coming back to that sadhu aspect. Amar had his right arm outstretched since 2019. No, wait. It was outstretched since the 70s, okay? This is that piece of this very strict yogic renunciation. I'm going to live in the cave. I'm living in the cave, and I have nothing to do with the physical world. And I tried this, you guys, and it was hard. It was powerful. I learned a lot from it. So I do recommend silent meditations or challenging yourself in these long periods of time with meditation solely all day. However, when the tantric science presented itself, this is the path of householders. The tantric yoga umbrella is much more accessible to especially us in the Western systems. And there's different sects of tantric philosophy. The main Kundalini comes out of this tantric umbrella. And of course, this is also combined in with Buddhism, with Jainism. So a lot of different religions are enveloped in this. Sikhism. And Tantra was introduced in the 4th century. And the emphasis, it of course has the emphasis on the identity of the absolute and the phenomenal world when filtered through experience of worship. This can also be spoken to as devotion or bhakti. We've heard bhakti yoga. And it's a very oneness environment. this idea of we are all one, that truth is at the center of this. So the renunciates were very early on in yogic history. And yoga, the practice of yoga has really only been identified as being practiced about 2,500 years ago. Of course, we do think this is older, but the real proof of the practice dates only about 2,500 years ago. This is spoken from Daniel Simpson's book, The Truth of Yoga. This is a really, really fantastic resource for diving in a little deeper into the real crux of the practice and how and where. And interestingly enough, the word yug, it's actually pronounced Y-U-J, yuj, in India. That root is, of course, to join. That's where English, we get our terminology as yoke, right? However, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, the aim of the Yoga Sutras was to separate consciousness and physical. It was more of a separation coming from Patanjali's views. And this is where the renunciates, how it transpired for the rishis, the sadhus, all the aesthetics. So by practicing this concentration on refining this awareness, and sometimes even holding your arm up because the body is an obstacle, this is a very extreme version of yoga. Now, the tantric world that we're entering with this Kundalini, with this energy yoga, is referred to as white tantra. In the West, when we hear the word tantric, we think sex immediately. And of course, there is different sectors of more occult practices included within this tantric. These are typically spelled with a K at the end. And this includes more of a black tantra and a red tantra, rather. This is the more intimacy practices. The black tantra is a witchcraft, more occult practices. And what we're looking at here is in the white tantra. So purification, of course. It's this unity and uniting the physical all the way up with the spiritual, being present within this, working with the consciousness. And it's truly integration. It's integration of the yin and the yang, the shadow, the light, being mindful of it all, but invoking the quality that we're connecting with, that of higher consciousness, of purification. So this oneness theme is found a little bit more through the later yogic age called the Vedanta period. the Vedas are the very first part, and then the Vedanta is moving into the last part of kind of the Vedic scripts. This is where is contained the Upanishads. Upanishads. And the aim of the Upanishads, of course, was to reveal and convey the highest truths. And the Bhagavad Gita is a script that lies within this era. This is a text that is very metaphorical. It is said to be that of God's song. And we will move through this a little bit more in this course. You're welcome to look at it. It's a good resource. The best translation I found is Stephen Michel's. I don't know if this is mirrored backwards for you guys, but I'll write all this. So a very powerful, poetic scripture, and we'll dive more deeply into that. And looking at these, I want to talk about these ages, they're called yurgas. I spoke briefly on the Piscean as we're moving from Piscean into Aquarian. This is speaking from more of that astrological viewpoint. Coming back to speak to the yogic cosmology, if you will, of the ages. And this is in the manual underneath the great cycles. We are currently in, and some people do think that we have moved past this age. I'm on the fence of that. I believe we're still in the what's called the Kali Yurg, Kali, and Yurga is age time period. Kali is not related to this goddess, Kali. It's a Sanskrit word, and it means dark. It may mean death, is the translation. And the best description I can give to you for this is that we are now within the Kali Yurg, and this is where darkness and light coexist. And we can see that. We see that all around us every day. This darkness and this light piece. I wrote a little update in the manual that describes this better. So, and this is a current phase that we've been in for about 5,000 years. These ages, these yurgas, last a long time. Up to 500,000 years, really. So a blink, we're just a blip in these ages, truly. So we're declining through these more degenerative days. However, awareness of 1/4 of the truth remains present. And we can feel that as we're moving through this path. We can feel the truths, the untruths. Now, the other ages, after this, they'll be moving into the golden age of truth. This is after the Kali Yurg, which is called the Krita Yurg. And this is the longest. These are the longest periods of time. The Treta Yurg This is where awareness of 3/4 of truth remains. And then the Doapar Yurg, this is all in the manual, you guys. Awareness of 1/2 of the truth remains. When I researched this, this was what made the most sense vibrationally to me, as far as how the Vedic cosmology describes this. Now, jumping back to the Kali Yuga, what we're in currently, this may also mean machine. This is very interesting. Metal machine. And the personal efforts during this juncture, we're here to help lift our own vibration so we can help the collective, truly. And it's also actually referred to as the age of vibrations. So vibrating to infinity in the finite state of consciousness. And we right now are at this juncture to relate to this infinity. And it truly is a great privilege to be here right now, to be witnessing. My Zoom keeps thumbs upping. I don't know how. It's awesome. And to be witnessing and sitting in this container during this potent time in creation. Like, this was by no accident. Here we are. At first, when I was writing this in the manual, I was like, oh man, this sounds dark. This sounds real negative. But viewing it from that, okay, 1/4 of the truth is still prevailing here in this age. There's still that. Like, that was when I felt a little better about putting this in the manual for awareness. And of course, it does not mean that there's total darkness. That's not what this means. But the individual balance of one's psyche that can relate to the entire universe and experience within himself that universe. And of course, the Aquarian age, as we move into it, is ruled by awareness, information, energy. The greatest power will be your own consciously projected words. So how can we be so mindful with these words that vibrate through our whole body, vibrate through our field? And of course, our lifestyle will be changing. I mean, things are shifting, things will change, we'll become more uncomfortable potentially. And of course, this is a loop, right? These are cycles. Everything is a cycle. It's said that the age of Aquarius potentially may have started in 1991. This is so tentative too. Energetically, maybe we know. Is there any questions on all that? Okay. Okay, beautiful. So we'll speak more about the yamas, the niyamas, the limbs of yoga I did want to talk about samskara today. If you did pick up the Path of the Yoga Sutras, this is referred to on page 34. I'll also be diving deeper into this as far as the mind at a later date, but being aware of this concept in yoga called samskara. I like to think of these as deeply rooted neural pathways in the brain. And we can notice when samskara is coming up for us. When we choose to take a different path than the one that we normally take or the one we're comfortable with, this is when we lift ourselves up out of samskara and begin to create new neural pathways. This can be something as easy as doing breathwork practice, bringing yourself back to the present moment, constantly dropping back into your heart space, possibly even communicating through your heart, bringing what you want to say into the heart first, and then filtering it through the lens of the heart will help notice and create different neural pathways. Now, science for a long time said, nope, the way your brain is the way your brain is. It's stuck. Old dog can't do new tricks, right? That may be true for a dog. However, for humans with this neural plasticity, this gray matter in our brain, we, through science, have found that this can be shifted. Things can change. Mindsets can be shifted. So just noting this deep habitual pattern related to yoga is referred to as samskara. And you can reflect on that during this next week. What are my samskaras? And not saying these are good or bad. Some samskaras are awesome. Like getting up and cold plunging at 5 a.m. habitually. This is a positive. So just noting that, noticing. Okay, so let's shift just ever so slightly and pick up our Essential Kundalini book. We're going to get into a little of this. Excuse me one moment. Okay. So I wanted to speak to page 40. This is also within the manual. This is considered one of the most powerful pranayams in Tantric yoga, in Kundalini. And we are just going to do this all together now. So bringing the left hand into Gyan Mudra, your mudra for inner wisdom, palm face up on your left knee. Getting yourself comfortable. Now the balancing that happens within this pranayam is extensive. It goes far beyond what we can even conceive. Let's bring our right thumb to our right nostril. Let's begin to inhale through the left for a count of 4. Let's block the left nostril with the ring finger or the middle finger. Exhale through the right for a count of 4. Inhale through the right. Exhale left. Inhale left. And exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. 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 Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Continuing to your own cadence here for another minute. And then taking your final exhale, releasing the hand, inhaling both nostrils. And exhale, release. Sitting in that for a moment. If you're of the energetic constitution of pitta or fire, this is extremely beneficial, as well as vata or air. If anybody would like to share their experience. I notice when I do this practice, it helps me ground. It helps me feel balanced and feel clear. This is one I do every day, personally. Any amount of time for this 3 to 11 minutes. And this is one I would recommend bringing in if you're looking to have a sadhana or a daily practice. So along with the rootedness of this Nadi Shodana, coming to page 16 in the manual, the deities of Hinduism and the chakras, wanting to acknowledge and speak to Ganesha. So Ganesha is the history is such that this is the son of Shiva and of Parvati. And you'll notice that Parvati is the sacral chakra deity. Ganesha is the root. Now, Ganesha is pictured as this elephant head, and he's sometimes pictured with multiple arms and dancing. And it is said that Parvati wanted a son and wasn't presented with a son. So she crafted Ganesha out of the earth, birthed of the earth. And this is a deity that is revered for moving obstacles, for knowledge and wisdom. And it's a very earthy, grounding mantra. So since we're in the space of Nadi Shodana, I'm just going to present to you this mantra of Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And this is very Vedic, and I'll play this on the harmonium for you guys at some point. Today we'll just do it vocally with our voice. So if you'd like to just try it, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. 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 Begin to whisper. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gum Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gum Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gum Ganapataye Namaha. Let the mantra go and just vibrate this. Let's put our left hand on our heart and ask yourself, what is showing up as an obstacle in my life? Allowing this to present itself intuitively. You're welcome to inhale and exhale. Locating a journal if you'd like to write anything down. What is showing up as an obstacle in my life? Do I need to go over it? Around it? Reframe it? What action might I need to take? What am I ready to surrender? Allowing yourself to just sit with this and coming back to this mantra. Mantra being a mind tool. It helps aid the mind of the incessant activity or thoughts. earlier when I spoke of inhaling Sat and exhaling Nam. This allows our mind to stay engaged and present on the breath and the present moment. So a mantra, mind tool, a yantra is a visual tool. Yantra. We'll get more into this with sacred geometry. So allowing these mantras to start to work with you. There's that playlist on Spotify. You're welcome to find your own versions. The more authentic Indian mantras are really on YouTube. I find them a lot on YouTube. So listening to this Ganesh mantra on YouTube is another option. There was talk about how the Kirtan Kriya, Satanama, was invoking and bringing up a lot. And this can happen, and just noticing this maybe resistance or noticing the emotions as it comes up for you with mantra. This is our gift as humans, is to be able to feel this and notice this. Are there any questions about this? Another aspect of coming into Sangha, coming into sadhana, is this concept of the sacred space. And this is found on page 108 by no accident in Essential Kundalini Yoga booked, as well as page 21 in the manual. So this is just referred to in both of these spaces. And of course, creating sacred space is creating a space where you're comfortable, right? It's this place where we can come. Maybe this is an altar or something that we create. Maybe it's an attic space that we have dedicated to our yoga practice and teacher training. Whatever it is, a shift in room for the day, just creating this so it's comfortable for yourself, right? So, and it's in form of energy too. It's an energetic placement and a facilitation for yourself, really. And truly, as we step into our role as a yoga teacher as well, this is something that we'll want to be aware of, is creating this space for the students. How's the lighting? When they lay down in Shavasana, am I going to shut the lights or dim them so that we don't hurt their eyes? Are we, are we aware of those who are sensitive to incense or burning things? So it's just this role, right? When we step into this role. And part of this too is also this idea of power structures. being sure that the student knows that I'm not the guru, you are your own guru. So handing them their power back, empowering them. We'll talk about more of those dynamics as far as the history and the prevalence of these as they've evolved throughout yoga and the Kundalini tradition as well. So being mindful of this, and it's natural and okay for your ego to want to get involved and say, oh yeah, good job. That's okay. How can we come back into the heart space when we're facilitating or holding space? Or when we're moving through rebirthing practices, we're not moving through our own rebirthing practice as the facilitator. We do this on our own time separately. I see a lot of yoga instructors having their own yoga class while teaching. And I'm guilty of this. I used to do this too. Do my own practice while I was teaching students. And there's a discrepancy there. So just noticing and even trying this out. Maybe, and myself included, I was very visual, and I needed to embody it with my students to tell them what exactly to do, right? And mirroring this for them is great. Like, this is what students may need. And then noticing that, for example, we're not floating away. I'm not going into a deep meditation while I'm facilitating a deep meditation for my students so that I can stay grounded and present to hold space. And you're welcome to read more about that through the manual. And as you move through this chapter, this is the chapter 6, the practices for you. This kind of gives a little bit more information about this tuning in, this centering, which sometimes I'll do through the sit bones, relaxing the body down, relaxing the face. We carry so much tension up here. So cueing, how are we able to cue this? And then tuning in, the Adi mantra is so prevalent for all of Kundalini classes, as well as even the Sikh tradition today in Punjab. We all still use this Adi mantra. I will speak to the Mangalacharan mantra. This is something that is denoted musically only in the West. So we're going to play with that throughout our time. This Ad Gure Name, Jugad Gure Name, Sat Gure Name, Siri Gurudeve Name. This is only sung in the West. The Sikhs, in India is all chanted. It's all just chanted. So we're going to play with this and toy with this as we move. Typically, we didn't do the Mangalacharan this morning, earlier, as I'm sure you noticed. This is due to it's a different energy. There's a different vibe. The Mangalacharan sets up, the rebirthing practice. It sets up these very in-depth practices. When we're just tuning in to go into a meditation, some warm-ups, Adi mantra is beautiful. Chanted 3 times usually. Sometimes teachers will chant it 4 in each direction. This is beautiful too. I put a PDF too in the drive that gives a little bit more detail into the words, the Sanskrit language of Kriya Yoga, Kundalini Yoga definitions. This speaks to the bandhas. It gives a little bit more of a precise explanation, as well as the benefits. the contraindications, the pranayam, and then the gaze, which is called eye mudras. And just to speak a little bit more to this third eye gaze, this is our go-to usually in Kundalini, and it's almost it is an upward moving gaze, and you're almost crossing your eyes upward. And my eyes don't do anything crazy. There's some, like my teacher's eyes will open slightly and it'll look a little creepy, right? So, feeling that in your body yourself, I have too huge of eyelids. Mine don't do that. So maybe that's a good thing for this. But it's a very slight upward motion, and the optic nerve actually will put pressure on the pituitary gland. So this is a very pituitary activating, moving eye mudra, eye gaze. And when we speak of the cave of Brahma, in the center of the head, this is the connection between the pituitary, the pineal. This is also kind of where we're bringing our awareness, our intention is coming into this space, into this center. This is also true as of breathing through the nose. Breathing through the nose brings the breath into the sinus cavities and essentially into this third eye space near the pituitary gland. So nose breathing is so important because it's moving right by the pituitary and creating this gentle stimulation. When we're breathing through the mouth, there's less pituitary stimulation. Another note about prana, bringing prana in through the nose, is that the sinuses, of course, are a filter. We know this. The passage to the lungs is longer. So, of course, the air has a chance to moisten and warm before it gets to the lungs, which is healthier for the lungs. If we're familiar with the book Breath by James Nestor, this is another great resource. He's done extensive studies on how our face shape has changed and evolved as such that most of the time now we breathe through our mouth. So there's athletes that have been taping their mouth, sometimes at night, taping your mouth, just kind of playing with this concept of how can I get the breath back into the nose? Of course, when we're doing these O-shaped breath of fires, it's for this very specific reason, to cleanse. And it's much more activating. It can have that energizing effect. So for earth or kapha constitutions, breathing through the mouth in that O-shaped breath of fire, very energizing. And it's also used through the mouth to quickly shift emotional states, of course. Detoxifying. And as I spoke earlier about when we did it was called breath cleansing pranayam, which was breathing through the left for 1 minute, breathing through the right for 1 minute, breath of fire in prayer position for 3 minutes. After that, typically is an inhale through the left and an exhale through the right. Inhale left, exhale right. It's not Nadi Shodana, it's a different version. And then meditation at the end. So there's 5 techniques in the breath cleansing pranayam. As I noted that the left was connected to the feminine, this is also a subtle energetic body, a subtle energetic channel that we'll be moving into next week. It's referred to as the Ida, IDA. And the right nostril related to the solar, the masculine, the Pingala, Pingala, ALA. And these subtle energetic pathways, channels, come up in figure eights, like the caduceus, around the main channel, main subtle body channel, which physically we relate to our spine. It's very much in the central of the body, called the Sushumna. So this is a brief introduction, and we'll weave more into these next week. But just to relate it back to this breathing pattern. And this is why this Nadi Shodana, this alternate breath nostril practice, is so potent for Kundalini practice and energy. And on page 115 of Essential Kundalini, it talks about the deep relaxation. This is Shavasana, or corpse pose. And this is another very, very important element of the yoga practice for integration. This is that posture where the spine is allowed to be neutral, where prana, life force, is allowed to flow naturally. The body inherently knows where it needs to go. Sometimes I'll play music for this to really get into that space of deep relaxation, but I'll also allow a lot of space for silence so that there's no influence, there's no vibration elsewhere. Of course, cueing the students to cover themselves, their feet being a big one. Eye pillows can be beautiful, very grounding and integrative pose. And doing this for up to 10 to 15 minutes, ideal at the end of Kundalini. Building that into the time frame. So taking a look at chapter 7 in Essential Kundalini before next week, the first part of chapter 7 would be great. This goes into a lot of postures afterwards. You're welcome to just check those out. But mainly it's about these bandhas once again, and referring back to that PDF in the drive for that as well. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. And then grabbing out our Kundalini Awakening book. This is super simple. Super easy little read. Making it very accessible. Kundalini, of course, is related to the traditional Chinese medicine as far as qi. It gives some guidelines for meditation. Having a meditation cushion. I sit on a buckwheat hull filled cushion the majority of the time. It's this little Kundalini Awakening. I suggested looking this one up like last minute. It's stuff. Oh yeah, okay. So buckwheat hull cushion, Etsy's awesome. And then I do have a bigger meditation cushion. I'll put a link for that one that I sit on almost every morning. It's just a little bit more comfy, kind of takes some pressure off the feet. and moving into this energy of prana. And let's look at page, or referring to page 5 before next week. And I've kind of broken down the chakra systems, so we'll kind of break those up as we go too. So today was really that focus on Ganesh, the root, and moving inward, this balancing. So let's go ahead and set all of our book stuff, our school stuff aside for now.
I have a question real quick. I can't find the PDFs that you're mentioning. Is it in the classroom?
It's okay.
The Google Classroom? I was looking around and
Yep.
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. It's in Drive.
Okay.
And I invited everybody, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So in the classroom under Drive, or we have to go somewhere to the Drive?
I think if you go to Drive and you go to Shared.
Oh, okay. My Drive shared with me.
Mm-mm.
And there should be a folder in there potentially, Kundalini Yoga teacher training. Now, another easy way to access this
I see it.
You see it?
Yeah, it was under shared, and then it was Kundalini Yoga teacher training, and then there's PDF resources.
Awesome.
Got it. Found it. Yep.
Okay. And there's also a link in the syllabus. So if you go to the classroom, you go to the syllabus, there's a link that says recordings. That's the link that will take you back to this drive.
Nice.
Cool. I'm glad you found it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So I'll have all the meditations in there that from this evening. And just as we go, I'll just kind of put them in there. I think if that's easy for everybody, let me know if there's another way that I don't know about. Any other questions, friends? Okay, so we will get ourselves comfortable. Let's go ahead and set this aside. Bring ourselves into our breath. You're welcome to lay down if you'd like as well. Sitting up in meditative posture or laying down. And beginning to bring that breath into the upper belly. Allowing the body to relax, soften down. Allowing gravity to soften through the aspects of our legs, ankles, our feet. And bringing that energy all the way down into the crystal iron core of the earth. Rooting yourself down. As you inhale back up through the soles of the feet, the ankles, the legs, the sit bones, the spine, all the way into the heart space. Exhaling those iron crystal particles into the cells of your body. moving from the heart, coming up through the crown of the head, the back of the head, the crown of the head, straight up into the heavens, the cosmos, source. And exhaling to pull those crystalline light particles back down through the crown of the head, the back of the head, the neck, the throat, into the heart space. Imagining that pillar of light as you lean down and in, melting into the earth. Coming back to the breath, inhaling and exhaling. You allow the hips to become heavy, the spine to become soft, the shoulders, the torso, the internal organs, relaxing. The neck, the head, the face, the jaw, eyes, top of the head relaxes down. Allowing yourself to melt away. Only coming back to our shared space with the sound of my chimes. Being so gentle with bringing your breath back in. Staying in this meditative sanctuary. If you'd like to just slip off to bed. If you'd like to wiggle the fingers, wiggle the toes, allowing the knees to bend as you rub the soles of the feet, the palms of the hands together, or just touch them together. Hugging the knees into the chest. And then rolling over onto either side. Feeling the support, this groundedness. Feeling the stabilization in Sangha. As you roll over a little farther, your hands help bring you up to an easy seat. Softly allowing the eyes to open, bringing awareness back to the space. You're more than welcome to drop off. You're more than welcome to stay on, to share, to connect. We'll continue this next Tuesday evening. Rubbing the palms of the hands together. Bringing the hands into the heart space. We'll close our sacred space all together with 3 long Sat Nams. Truth is the essence. I am truth. Inhale and exhale. Inhale to prepare. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Sat Nam, beloveds.